a very special guest joining me. He's a man with a 42-0 record, 31 of those wins coming by way of knockout. It's Abel Mendoza. Abel, appreciate you taking time to come on today, man.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, man. Well, I want to get into a couple things first before we get into your career and some of those things. One of which is you're talking about your nickname, King Abel. Also, you go by El Zorro. Can you take us through the backstory between those two names? Like, where do those come from? Why do you go by those names?
Well, the King Abel, I kind of got it on Instagram. Like it just kind of was available, whatever was
Okay.
like like a name available on Instagram. I thought it sounded pretty cool. I am King Abel. Uh, and then El Zorro is kind of like there's uh like a guy that used to kind of like a little Red Robin Hood that used to help out where my the town where my family's from in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And he would help out like the community from what I hear. And they said, "Hey, isn't so so and Zorro from there?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, he is from there." And they're like, "That's kind of why they gave me that nickname as well."
All right, man. Well, I got one other thing I want to ask you about too, and it's something I found that was really unique about you, and it's kind of talking about something that's not boxing related, but you have a special Valentine's tradition. I just want to pick your mind that a little bit because that's also a really cool thing you do. So I want to hear the story behind that. Like, just where did that also come from? Why did you start doing that? Just take us to the backstory of that.
Yeah. So actually, my mom used to work at a nursing home.
Okay.
So she used to like work with the elderly a lot, and sometimes she would take me to her work, and I would visit her, and I would go there. So, um, you know, I I was thinking about Valentine's, and I'm like, wait, maybe I should go and do something for Valentine's, and I just kind of
Mhm.
thought about it. So that's kind of where that idea came from my mom.
Love that, man. Well, let's get into some of your careers because I just got to start with one question specifically for you. We look at your resume 42-0, 31 wins come by knockout. Obviously, you haven't chosen this path. You're going to fight more consistently and you build up this record. And some people say, okay, is it a stat pad? Is it not? Whatever you want to say along those lines. The point is, you're 42-0 at this point in your career. So I want to ask you this question then because when you look at people and people are going to go judge your record based upon your resume and who you find, so on and so forth, but you are 42-0. You still are a guy that people can as someone that legitimately does deserve a bigger fight in the future. What's your response to them? Why do you believe that your record, although 42-0, although it might not be against the top competition, that you are ready to go fight against those top guys?
Because, like, you know, like it's why don't they give me like a shot, like somebody at the top five? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like there's guys that are 10-0 that have gotten that opportunity.
Fair.
There's guys that like Andy Cruz, he's like at 5-0, he got an opportunity. So why not somebody that's 42-0? I fought for regional belts for the WBC, regional belts for the WBA. I fought world title uh, challengers. So I just think I deserve an opportunity.
I'm going to go through some of these lists. And these are just things that's been rumored about you about possible fights. I believe you were going to be the backup fighter for Raleigh or Ryan if one of them pulled out there on that fight. You talk about another guy, Kamal Moat. I know you're trying to get your replacement to replace Kidasi against Shakur Riyadh season last year. When you talk
Yeah.
about where you're at right now, and in regards to start with the first one, when you talk about the Ryan Garcia Raleigh, was that official then? So if something would have happened, either one of those two guys that you would have been fighting on Friday in Times Square?
So like I told them I was like, hey, I'm ready. I'm here um for any reason. So they knew I was, you know, uh, there's nothing said on contract,
Okay.
but I've always stayed ready because you never know. These opportunities just they come out of nowhere. But you know, you just have to always stay ready.
When you talk about what you want next, you haven't fought now since December 4th of last year. Obviously, I'm sure you're looking for a fight right now. Is something in the works? Do you have something set up that you want to do pretty soon? Where do you see what your next fight's going to be?
Right now, just stay ready. I really don't want to fight just to fight anymore.
Okay.
I'm trying to fight like like contenders. So I could have gotten a whole bunch of fights already. I turned down a lot of fights,
Hmm.
but unless it's like it's a minimum fight, or a contender, or like on a big card, or some type of exposure, then I'm not taking just any fight, because I already have 42 fights. I need fights that are meaningful, and it's hard turning them down because I love to fight. Like I wish I could fight every weekend. That's why I have 42 fights, because I love to fight. But I just stay patient.
You kind of answered a little bit to what I was going to actually ask you next, and that is in regards to your game plan. When you talk about trying to book that next fight, are you at a position? Like I said, you already seem to be having your name thrown out there with the Rawling and Ryan trying to be filling there, the Kid Austin replacement for Shakur, those type of things. Is that really what you're targeting? Like you said, you don't really want to step your foot in the ring again until you're fighting, whether it be a champion, a top contender. Is that pretty much all you're going to settle for? Like that's what you want next?
Um, no, I won't settle just for that. I
Okay,
mean, ultimately, that is the plan, to get one, like a big name.
sure.
But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I do want, like, fights on big cars. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
whoever I work with, we'll see.
So when I talk about the 42-0 record, and for yourself, I know you haven't always been promoted by a big company yet, and so your way of kind of building yourself up, building your name has probably been going the route of staying consistent, fighting, getting 42 fights on your record now. Is that something that you've always been? How have you kind of gotten through that process? Because I know a lot of times it becomes, I don't want to say easy, but obviously to grow yourself, get fights, having promotions bigger for you guys in boxing. Is that been something that you've been in negotiations or talking to any of the promoters? Has that been something that at any point in your career you've discussed? Or what's kind of led to the decision of you going pretty much for the most part, not going underneath of one of the big stables?
Yeah, I mean, it's been me pretty much on my own.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's been difficult, but I think now I think I got good, advice.
Hmm.
Um, so I think something good's gonna come soon.
Is there a certain timeline where you see yourself possibly returning to the ring?
Uh, who knows, man? Who knows? I mean, but I do. I'm staying ready. I'm staying ready. No, there's not a timeline, honestly,
Okay.
but I'm staying ready.
Absolutely, man. Well, a couple other things I want to get into too is one of which is when you talk about some of the guys at the weight class, you kind of are going around between 135 specifically at lightweight. You have guys obviously in the mix. Kid Austin's there. You have guys like Carmelo and you have Abdullah Mason. I know that's been a rumored guy before people have talked about. Is there somebody, if you could pick somebody that you want to go fight that, even if it's not a champion, something that you would see like right now would make sense for you to go fight, who would that guy be?
Uh, I think me and Pitbull would make sense.
Okay.
Honestly, I think that would be a good fight,
What about him stands out to you?
because I just think we would make a great fight. I think the guy that fought last, I think I was in a better position. I'm undefeated. He got the opportunity, and now he get opportunity out of undefeated fighter like me. Uh, so I think that makes sense for everyone.
If you were to get the opportunity, how would you see that fight going down?
I I would see it a war.
Mm,
'Cause I like to go to war. He likes to go to war. I think it would be uh, a, the fight of the year.
okay.
Right.
For those that have not been familiar with your fight style, the way that you fight, what you bring to the ring when you step in there, how would you describe yourself?
I just like to bang. I like
Mhm.
to give people a good fight.
Abel, with you being 29 years old now, if I were to ask you, what does the next 12, 18 months look like for yourself? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to get done? Where do you see yourself in, a year to a year and a half? How would you answer that?
Just staying ready, man. Staying sharp, and waiting for that phone call. You know, we'll see what happens, man. I'm just taking it day by day, and if it's meant to be, it'll be. If it's not, then it's not.
Well, Abel, I've got one final question for you, and that's the question I like to wrap up with each and every single guest I have on here. And that's talking about your legacy. Because at one point, you're going to step away from boxing. And when that day does come, what is it that you want to remember for what you accomplished inside the ring, outside the ring? Just what is it that you want people to remember Abel Mendoza for?
I think I want people to remember like the positive things that I do. You know, who I am outside the ring, and just just try to do just try to be the best that you are. You know, not really like not not really like what I did, like I guess inside the ring, but who I was as a fighter, as a person. You know.
Love that, man. Well, Abel, I appreciate you for taking time to come on today, man. I'm excited to see what guys got next for you.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Thank you for always having me on.
Absolutely, man. You're always welcome on, man. God bless.
Thank you. You too. God bless.